Genesis 44. Remember, 444 is all is well. But 44 is close. A silver cup in a sack. Now Joseph gave these instructions to the servant, his steward, his chief servant. Fill the men's sacks, bags with as much food as they can carry, and put each man's silver in the mouth of his sack. Then put my cup, the silver one, in the mouth of the youngest one's sack bag, along with the silver for his grain. And he did as Joseph said. So you have to watch the prior video. Joseph's brothers came with silver to buy grain. And then when they went back, there was silver in their bags. And God, the Creator, there's a concept called ex nihilo. That means God can actually materialize things. He can make something appear before you. It's created by God. And where did it come from? It looked like it just appeared out of nowhere. So that's what happened. You'll say, no way. But I didn't write the story. So when they went back, God, the Creator, he just put silver in their bags. Now Joseph wants to mess with them, and put silver in their bags. As morning dawned, the men were sent on their way. And they had not gone far when Joseph said to his servant, "Go after them and say to them, why have you done something bad against my master? Zephaniah Padiah is missing his silver cup." That's Joseph. "Do you have his silver cup? Did you steal his silver cup? He was nice to you." So the servant caught up to Joseph's brothers, and his brother said, one of them said, "No, we wouldn't do anything like that. We even brought you silver. So why would we steal something silver from your master, the governor of Egypt? Governor and prince, second in command only to the Pharaoh. Second in command. If any of us has the silver cup, your master's silver cup, he will die. I think he will die. It'll be embarrassing. And the rest of us will become your slaves. We will owe you." "Very well, then," he said. "Let it be as you say. Whoever is found to have it will become Joseph's slave. He'll owe Joseph. And the rest of you, so just whoever has that cup, you owe my master Joseph, the servant of Joseph." That's what he was saying. Each of them looked in their bags, and Joseph's servant, this chief steward, his chief servant, started to search, starting with the oldest to the youngest. And the cup was found in Benjamin's bag. At this, the brothers tore their clothes. So they were angry. That's what it means. Then they all loaded their donkeys and returned to Egypt. Joseph was still in his house when Judah and his brothers came, and they threw themselves to the ground before him. That means they were, I don't know, They felt guilty. Joseph said to them, what have you done? Don't you know that a man like me can find things out by divination? What can we say? Judah replied. What can we say? How can we prove our innocence? We are guilty. We owe you. We ourselves and the one, Benjamin, who was found to have the cup. But Joseph said, far be it from me to do such a thing. The only person, Benjamin, because he was found to have the cup, he'll owe me, become my slave. The rest of you, go back to your father. Then Judah said, pardon us. Let me speak. Do not be angry with me, though you are equal to Pharaoh himself, since you are equal to Pharaoh. My Lord asked his servants, do you have a father or a brother? And so Joseph asked his brothers, do you have a father or a brother? And they answered, we have an aged father, and there is a young son born to him. His brother is dead, and he is the only one of his mother's sons left, and his father loves him. Then you said to your servants, bring him down to me so I can see him. The boy cannot leave his father. If he leaves him, his father will die. But you told your servants, unless your youngest brother comes, you will not see my face again. Again, when we went back to our father, we told him what you said. Then our father said, go back and buy a little more food. But we said, we cannot go, only if the youngest comes with us. We cannot see the man's face unless Benjamin is with us. Our father said to us, you know that Rachel, my wife, bore me 2 sons. One of them went away from me, and I said, he has surely been torn to pieces. So the brothers are telling Joseph what their father said. Joseph is surely dead, and I have not seen him since. If you take Benjamin from me, and harm comes to him, you will bring my gray head down to the grave in misery. So now, if the boy is not with us when I go back if Benjamin is not with us, because remember, Joseph, he put his cup in his brother's bag, and then now his brother owes him, and then he could keep him, he could hold him, he could say, this man, Benjamin, owes me. So his brothers say, no, we have to bring him back, because his father, he's going to get really sick and almost die if he doesn't have his youngest son. Your servant guaranteed, 2 of us, but it's Judah speaking. 2 of us, Judah saying, I guaranteed to bring him back. I have to bring him back. I have to take him back to his father. Now then, please let your servant remain here in place of the boy. So Judah's saying, Benjamin has to go back, so I'll take his place. How can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? Do not let this misery fall upon, Israel or Jacob. Let's go on to Genesis 45. Genesis 45, Joseph makes himself known. Then Joseph could no longer control himself. He cried out, "Everyone, leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he revealed that he's their brother. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it. He must have shouted so loud. Some people know like in California, I used to yell at ghosts. I'm a loud guy. So I think Joseph was yelling. He was yelling. He could no longer control himself. See, everyone get out of my face. And he wept so loud. He was yelling, Egyptians kept hearing him yell. And Pharaoh's household kept hearing him yell. And Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers could not answer him because they were so surprised. They thought he was dead. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close. I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now," so he yelled a lot, just squashed it after the yelling. "Do not be angry for selling me here, because it was to save lives. God made me Prince of Egypt so I could store up grain, and Egypt and all the lands around Egypt will not starve to death. So for 2 years now there has been famine. For the next 5 there will be no plowing and no reaping. God sent me here ahead of you to preserve you a remnant on earth and save your lives by a great deliverance." Let's see the note. Or save you as a great band of survivors. It was not you who sent me here. So he's saying that although they did sell him, God was always with him. God made me Lord of... God made me father to Pharaoh. Okay, God, he was sold to Potiphar. A priest is like a father. God made me chief attendant to Potiphar, Lord of his household, and now God has made me second in command to rule all of Egypt. And then he says, "Hurry back to our father and tell him, this is what Joseph says. God has made me Lord of all Egypt. Come down, don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me. You, your children and grandchildren, You can bring your animals here. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are coming. If you don't come, everything will become destitute. So they have to believe Joseph, God tells them stuff. You can see for yourself, and so can my brother Benjamin. That is really I, Joseph. Tell my father about all the honor accorded me in Egypt, and about everything you have seen, and bring our father here quickly. Then he threw his arms around Benjamin and embraced him, and he kissed all his brothers. And afterwards, his brothers talked with him. So they caught up, But I mean, if you haven't seen someone in a long time, you have questions, and you drink some beers, and you talk about the good things that happened while you haven't been hanging out. So they did that. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace that Joseph's brothers had come, Pharaoh and his officials were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, do this, load your animals and return to your land, and bring your father and your families back. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you can enjoy the fat of the land." You are also directed to tell them, "Do this, take some carts from Egypt for your children and your wives." So they go, it's like a taxi. "And get your father and come. Never mind about your belongings, because the best of all Egypt will be yours." So the sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them carts, as Pharaoh had commanded, and he also gave them provisions for their journey. To each of them he gave new clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 sets of clothes. And this is what he sent to his father: 10 donkeys loaded with the best things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread, and other provisions for his journey. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they were leaving, he said to them, Don't quarrel on the way. Don't quarrel on the way. It just, hurry up. Go there and come back. I can't wait to see Dad or see you back. Come back quickly. So, because what's happening. They all hugged and reconciled, and he's second in command in Egypt. So you have to remember that he's like a prince, not a president or a vice president. So he already decreed right here. He wants them to come and just live there, and he already thought about where they would live. So his brothers went up out of Egypt, and to make a long story short, they told their father, "Joseph is alive, and he rules all of Egypt." His father was stunned. So they saw these carts, and to bring them back like taxis. And Jacob was cheered up. His spirit revived. And Israel, that's Jacob, said, "I'm convinced. My son is alive. I will go and see him." And that is Genesis 44 and 45. Thank you for listening. Remember, keep God first and consider reading the Bible, the Holy Bible.